All right, it looks like I'm live. I'm not quite sure of all the things that I'm looking at here, but welcome. If anybody has showed up to watch this live stream from 2026, it's a new year and experimenting around with some software tools here to try to get live streams up and going again, and it remains to be seen how that's going to go. I want to see if I can try to get the chat screen open here so I can see what's going on. I thought it might pop up as soon as I went live, but I don't see it here. So let me see if I can do some things to get the chat screen to come up top. Well, that's disappointing. I thought that would happen automatically. Let me see here. I want to make sure it hasn't like come over somewhere else on my screen. Let me show you the course I'm going to play tonight. You can take a look at that while I do some things over here on my side. No, it hasn't shown up yet. Well, daggone. Let me see if I can figure out what's going on here. I apologize if this is a little bit tedious for everybody. It might be a YouTube setting that I need to fool with. So, in the event that you can chat on your end, let me try this. The YouTube control panel. Well, that's right there. Okay, so I don't want to close that. Oh, here we go. Chat. There we go. All right. All right, boy, I'm an amazingly slow learner here. I can now see chats, and I can now see that we've got some people here. All right, looks good, sounds good. Great to have you back. Thank you, Doug, and it looks like William that are here. Whew, I'm now breathing a sigh of relief, and thank you so much for showing up. Let me go back and show the Game Caddie now that I kind of know what's happening here. I'm going to show the Game Caddie, and it says Game Caddie version 7.1, but this is not the same version that's been distributed. This is a beta copy that I'm working on, and I'm going to go ahead and highlight my cursor here so it shows up a little bit better on the screen. Well, you'll notice that there's a couple of new buttons here that and this will come out in the next update whenever that happens. There's two buttons here on the About screen. The About screen, of course, being the first screen that you see when the Game Caddie opens. One of them says Auto Format, and then it has under it says Control W, which means that you can either click this button or you can use the hotkey combination Control W. The reason for that is sometimes people, because there's so many different resolutions out there that people use for their screen displays. There's so many different monitor sizes, and I take my best guess at what's going to look good on your screen and good on my screen, but it's totally conceivable that guess could be off or way off in some cases. And so what I've tried to do is come up with a quick way to help people resize how the Game Caddie looks on your monitor so that it isn't fiddling around with each of the worksheet tabs down here as you move from tab to tab. And if you click this button, okay, what it does is it takes the Game Caddie when it's not in full screen mode. Say, for example, let me show you. All right, so that's not in full screen mode, and you can see my desktop behind it. But if I click either that button or I do Control W, what happens is it now jumps to full screen, and it doesn't do it just for this particular screen. It does it for all the different Game Caddie screens over here. And hopefully that combination will work well for you if the Game Caddie isn't looking good proportionally on your monitor. This other one is called Screen Control button. It's a toggle really, and it's in the off state right now. And you can click on it and it'll toggle on and off. And I would suggest leaving it in the off state if you're not having any problems. But if you're having situations where in the middle of play, for no apparent reason, all of a sudden you see big areas of white space on your screen, and I can't show this to you without presenting a screenshot, because I can't make it happen on my monitor. But it is a problem that does occur for some folks. And that big white space really is what's happening is that the scroll bar here is just going down. Now, it doesn't really do anything on that particular one, but let's go over here to Game Caddie 1, and if I scroll down, you see, you get all this white space here. If that happens to you suddenly, you may not even notice that the scroll bar has moved. You just see all this white space and think, well, what's disappeared? And it's not really anything, it's just scrolled. So this toggle button over here, when it's in the on position, prevents that sort of automatic scrolling that occurs on some machines with some configurations. So if you're not having the scrolling problem, just leave it off. If you are, turn it on, and that should prevent any scrolling that you might have. And the reason for leaving it off is that, again, depending on the speed of your machine, you can get a little bit of flicker when this is in the on state, which is, for me, it's hardly even noticeable, but on slower machines, it could be a problem. Okay, all right. So you didn't come here to get a lesson on how to use the Game Caddie. You came here to watch me play Wicker basket, and we'll see how that goes. So I've already loaded this up. I'm going to come over to the Conditions tab, and I'll show you that I've got the configuration settings menu. I've already gone ahead and set this up for Wicker basket. It is a course that does not have any prevailing winds, so I'm just going to go with the standard wind setting here. I am going to use the modern game player mode, which will make the WI shots carry farther. It doesn't affect roll, of course. And I'm doing that because I'm going to be playing with Justin Rose. And it's interesting, I pulled his card out of the 2024 packet, I thought, but it says 2023 here. I wonder if I've gotten my envelopes mixed up. Let's see. I'm gonna, or maybe it's just misprinted. I just noticed that this second. So let me look through and see if somehow that card. Oh, it did. It got in. I grabbed the wrong card, and I want to play with the 2024 card. So I'm gonna park that card, and that means I'm gonna probably have to do a little bit of editing. Now, you might say, well, why did you think it was even possible that the wrong year was printed on Justin Rhodes' card? And I'll go ahead and I'll show you the card here. Let me apply this. Okay, and then I can show you his card because I'll just put it down here on the course. There you go. That's what his 2024 card looks like. And if you have the 2024 set, go in and take a look at, who is it? I think it's Russell Henley. The number that's printed for him for that for the card year is, I think it's 2004. So little mistakes like that do happen. But let me come over to the Game Caddie then, and I'm going to have to make some edits here to the Caddy tab because I put in the 2023 numbers for Justin Rose because I used that card. So his momentum is going to change from a 2 to a 1. And then bounce back, he has a 0, the bounce back. His sand points or remain a 4, and then instead of an AB, he's a BB for shot making, and the clutch doesn't matter, but it's a 2, and then the scramble is also a 2. So now and I'm just going to keep the same club selection. So that's what we've got there for Justin Rose, and I'm ready to tee off. Let me jump over here to Wicker Basket and load hole number 1. We've got some special features here. I'm going to ignore any notes in here that might be from Dr. Klein in terms of how to play certain holes. Again, I've not played this course before, so I don't have any rationale for that other than I'm just trying to keep this as simple as possible for me. And then we have some special features here, but they're things like shots from deep bunkers, and then apparently there are quarry lies that you can run into on this course. Hopefully I don't experience that. And then you've got some optional hole lengths here with different tees, and I'm not going to fool with that. I'm just going to keep the conventional tee lengths. But all those things, well, certainly this last one could be adjusted right over here with the alternate hole tool, but I'm not going to do that. So let's transfer hole number 1 and enter that in. And I want to make sure that I didn't lose people here. Yeah, it looks like I'm still live. Okay. All right. Okay, so we got hole number 1 here. It looks like we're not going to have any wind. Let me take a look at the hole notes here. Tee shots that carry more than 205 yards in the air and are greater than 35 yards right of the center line hit the tree at 210, right 40, and stop. Okay, good to know. Putting from back to front of the green read results 2 columns longer. Okay, so you don't want to go long on this hole. And we're playing tonight with pin number 1, moderate wind conditions and normal course roll. And then read all the putts normally, and then there's that TC shot that says no aiming. All right, well, I'm going to ignore that as I said. All right, so we'll open the all-in-one menu here. We have a severe dogleg at 245. So, I could aim right and then try to bomb it. There is actually an out of bounds over to the left. Again, let me show you what I'm looking at here. So instead of, just trying to bomb it through this severe dogleg, and potentially, of course, if I got something like a 31, I guess I could end up over here in the trees or out of bounds, something like that. But I'm not going to play it that risky. I'm just going to hit like a 4 wood and just try to get it basically to this dogleg with maybe about 15 yards roll. Okay. There we go. 4 wood. Am I going to aim any? No, I'll just swing away, because that's 240 yards. And we don't add anything here. All right, so 21 is a 7 in the W column. So that's going to go 235, left 10 with 15 roll. So 235, left 10, 15 roll. So that's going to be, well, let's see. Let me go ahead. I'm going to put this into the Game Caddie here and see what it tells me. But it should be 250, left 10, right? So we have what the situation, of course, that you run into with lots of courses, particularly where you have severe doglegs, is you have extra grid lines in here. So if you're counting out strictly grid lines, you're going to get a different number mathematically than if you just use the Game Caddie, which is just doing simple arithmetic for this particular problem. But we're going to go ahead and do what the Game Caddie tells us to do. So 250, left 10, and then I'll go ahead and update that shot. And it's in the fairway. And that's going to leave me short-sighted, but that's okay. All right. All right, so I'm 105 away from pin number 1, short-sighted, and that pin is just 5 yards off the center line, as we can see here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hit a sand wedge. I don't want to be long. I could knock it down, and that would almost guarantee I'd be short. But what happens is that 110 goes to 100. So I don't think I want to do that, because it's also going to back up 5 yards as well. So that would, it's kind of 6 of one, half dozen the other. So I'm just going to go ahead then and hit a sand wedge and a 66. I bombed it. So if I had knocked it down, it actually probably would have worked out better. Okay, so that's a 4 in the I column. This is going to be long. So if I'm still on the green, I'm going to be 2 columns longer for my putt here. All right. So I've got a little problem with the beta version here. Hopefully I can get this cleared up before it's released. You'll notice that there's some strike throughs up here on the new ball location. Seems to come up mostly with second shots. There's a variety of ways I can fix that. Probably doing Control W would work, but just, you know, if I click on a white space, it gets rid of it. It goes away as soon as you do something with the Game Caddie. A little bit annoying. Hopefully I can get that fixed before you have to deal with it. So 365 right 5. So not only is it long, but it goes to the wrong side of the center line. That's going to be 10 yards longer than the pin location, and then it's going to back up 5. So let me come over here, show you what happens here. And I've got to move this little box so I can see what's going on. All right, so the ball is going to essentially hit right on the back edge here, right there, and then it's going to back up 5 yards and end up at that spot. So I'll be a diagonal and a straight away. So coming over to the Game Caddie, I'll just enter that in. And that leaves me with a 28-foot putt, but I'm long, so I'm 2 columns longer. Oh, and I forgot to hit the ball and green tool. This is what I get for multitasking. All right, so 2 columns longer. We'll click on this. So this is just for the first putt, and we'll play it safe. 51 is a 23. 4 feet away. I'll come back here and put that back to 0. 51 again. We know that number. That's a 23, and that'll be in. So we got a par on the first hole. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move on to hole number 2. A little maneuvering here on my end. This is going to be a par 5. I'll show you the hole here. That's what it looks like. Alrighty. And okay. So William says this will be his first time seeing this course. Me too. If I can make this chat a little bit bigger, some things are getting cut off here. All right. All right. So let me go ahead and load the hole, which means I got to show you the Game Caddie. All right. So Wicker basket, hole 2. And what do we got here? Shots from the fairway shorter than 405 yard mark, you lose 20 yards. Okay, so that must mean you're hitting uphill. And then shots between 405 and 455, you lose 10 yards. All right, so okay, that'll be a little tricky to remember all that, but the tee shot doesn't look like it's affected. Although, man, we have that out of bounds that is so close. And then you got deep rough. So once again, coming back, here's my concerns. you got this out of bounds here, and it's easy to hit a driver more than this to the right, okay? And, you know, trees could save you from going out of bounds. You hate to depend on that to be your salvation. And then, of course, if you aim over to the left to try to avoid that, you could end up in the deep rough, and then your, you know, maximum club is going to be a pitching wedge, and you could even be blocked by this tree here, depending on how far you hit the ball. So while I don't really relish the idea of doing this, I think I'm going to hit a 4-wood and aim just a little bit to the left anyway. So let me try that. This hole's going to play really long. All right, so a 4-wood, and I'm going to hit, I don't know, maybe 10 to the left. I don't want to lose distance by going more than that. Let's just see what happens here. A 41, that's a 7. Okay, so that's still going to go left, but we're not going to run into the out of bounds problem. That's the good news. You know, I could have gotten away with the driver on this one, but who knows, right? So we'll take that shot. So 235, left 20, and then we get 15 roll. 235 is back here, left 20, 10, and 20 is, it's intermediate rough, so we're going to get the full roll. It's right there. We'll get that full 15 roll. All right, so let me go ahead and mark it out. I'll use the actual marker here. So 235, that's intermediate rough, and then the 15 roll is 10 and 5. I think that actually is right on the line, so that's going to leave us in the fairway at 250. You come over to the course and put the 15 roll in. All right, 250 left 20, and I'm going to call that fairway. All right, so we're less than the 405 yard, so we're going to lose 20 on this next shot. Wow. All right. And we still have the out of bounds that we have to worry with. It's sort of like it gets you. Oh, boy. So I'm just going to hit down the middle. See what happens here. 14. See, that won't be good. That's a 26. Yeah, it's more than likely it's going to go out of bounds. Yeah. So 445, right 30. Coming back to the course. Well, this is a really difficult hole. I'm not sure that the pros would find it as hard as APBA seems to think it is. You know, it hits here, right? And out of bounds is anything to the right of this dotted line for sure. So we just have to re-hit from that location. Boy, I don't want to end up doing this twice. So let me come back to the Game Caddie. Take the penalty, record it. And, oh, I got to drop the ball. I forgot to drop the ball. So what I'll end up doing is dropping it at the original location. So 250 left 20. And that, I said that was fairway, right? So we have to hit from there. And then we still lose that 20 yards. I don't know. You know, you just when you get a bad roll, you get a bad roll. So maybe I'll just hit a 2-iron this time. I don't know that that would have made any difference with a 14. A 24. See, that's not great either. That's an 18. Man, I don't know how to play this hole unless you just play a 5-iron all the way up the... So 435 right 20. That hits a tree. And as long as it doesn't bounce right, I'm okay. Remember, I always play with the bounce thing. So 435 right 20. I'm going to take a different ball marker in case I have to come back to where I am. So 435 right 20 is 10, 20, and that's it. That's on this side of the OB line, but then I've got to do the tree bounce, and that's that little tool right here. Don't bounce right. Ball bounces 5 yards to the right. So it bounced out of bounds. It bounced to there. So it bounced, it hit the tree and bounced out of bounds. Okay, well, I know what I got to do. I got to record this as another penalty stroke. This is getting comical at this point. Okay. I got to put the ball back where it was. 250, left 20. Place ball in the fairway. Man, oh man. I'm gonna hit a 5-iron. I'll probably get a great roll for this. 13. Yeah, so that's a 6. That'll be fine. So we got 430 right 5 with 5 roll. All right, lesson learned on this one. Take the 5 roll here. 5-iron is your play. All right. And let's see, we're at 435. So we got to do -10 for this next one. I'm not even sure I remembered to do the -20 that last time. I probably forgot to do it. But I'm not going to worry. I'm playing on. All right. And then pin 1 is in the front right. I gotta move that little thing that's right up here. Let me see if I can put this chat box out of the way. That doesn't work. There we go. Okay. There, that's what I want. Sorry for the delay. All right, and so we're short-sighted, and get rid of the green ball marker, which I don't need at the moment. Distance 120, gap wedge. And that'll roll back 5. If I knock it down, all right, I'm going to do a pitching wedge and swing away. 21 is a 20. Oh, goodness sakes. So 540, left 15. Managed to put it into the bunker. So this is dismal. All right, update and sand trap. The only good news is he's got a bunch of sand points. So I'll take, oops, I'll take a sand point here, and we're at 20 from the pin. 12 is a 14. Boy, these are miserable numbers. I'm going to run out of room here. Ball on green. All right, just in the nick of time. All right, so I've got 8 strokes already. We'll come over here, see if you can make a 10-footer. Not with a 56. 24. 63. 26. So I recorded a 10 on that hole. So this is a lesson in what not to do. You know, what can I say? I mean, that just was played badly. Live and learn. All right, so let's put up hole 3 here. I don't think I'm going to shave enough strokes off here for this to make a difference for the purposes of this live stream. All right, so hole number 3. All right, so we got a little bit of a tailwind here. And we got some hole notes here. Shots landing in deep rough with the red border. Okay, hopefully. All right, I can show you that. Shots from left of green, roll 2 dice. Man, so you don't want to be left of the green. Boy, this is brutal. Okay, tee shots carry minus 10 yards. That's what I was looking for. All right, and next is a TC note, so I'm not going to adhere to that. William says, get the bad hole out of the way early. Yeah, I hope so. I hope they don't get any worse than that. All right, so here's hole number 3. And this is the course right where the flag sticks are the wicker baskets. I need a big target to aim for. So our pin is hole number 1 here, which of course is tucked behind this deep bunker, and it looks like we have deep rough in front of the bunker with the hole note pertaining to that. So I really just want to try to put the ball somewhere in the middle of the green. I do have a known wind, so that helps me a little bit. All right, so, and this is a long par 3. Thank goodness I'm playing with the modern settings here because I'll get a little bit more distance. But trying to keep this ball on the green is going to be nearly impossible with the clubs that I've selected. Again, in hindsight, you know, with Justin Rose's average W being a 6, a 3 would have been a better choice. That would have given me 255 here. But the club's not in his bag. So I either hit a driver and almost for sure put it over the green, or I go with the 4-wood. So I'll go with the 4-wood here. I will get 5 extra yards, so that 240 really becomes a 245. But I'd only likely get 10 green roll, I think. But I'm just going to swing away. 21, that's a 7. I know that one from before. So we'll put that in there. So 230 left 10. That hits in the rough right in front of the green. Let me see if there's any hole notes to that from shots from the rough. Okay. So now, all right, so all we just do is cut that roll in half, and his fairway roll is 15, so I would roll 10, and that puts it on the green. But then look what we are, 1, 2, 3, 4 diagonals away. But I am on the green and then don't have to deal with a lot of these other notes. All right, so we'll put 4 diagonals in here. And that'll be 74 feet. Come over here, we'll play this safe. 24, which is a bad number for everybody. That's a 28. So we've got a 7-footer here for just to par it. 63, boy, 26. I'm going to 3-putt this hole. And then a 51, 23. You know, Justin Rose, going into the 4th round of my 2024 PGA Championship, is tied for 4th place. It makes you wonder how, given the lousy numbers that I've rolled for him tonight. So a bogey, and now we move to 6 over. And let's put up hole number 4. Wicker basket, hole 4. And I don't have any bounce back points. I didn't point that out before. All right, what do we got here? Let's just take a look at the course here. All right, here's our hole. Another par 5. Is this a par 80 course here? Another par 5. What do we got here? We got trees. We got deep rough. We got a little tight area there. Excuse me, but that's at 405 roughly. So just a really long hole. But there's no water. Well, up here I guess there's water, and then there's water right before you get to the hole. But off the tee box is what I was thinking. And that dog leg there is a gentle dog leg. Both of these are gentle dog legs per the note down here. So we don't have to worry. So we can aim a little bit to the left and maybe try to put the ball here. All right, so that's what I'll do. Okay, so this is going to be a grip it and rip it. Tee shots landing in the fairway roll 5 yards left per 10 yards forward roll. Maybe I don't want to. That's any one in the fairway. So I'm not going to aim left at all. I'll just swing away here. 62. That's going to be a 6, which is his average W. He's going to get, what, 25 roll on this. The question is, do I want to reduce it? I'll be laying up. There's no way that he'll be able to go for the green in 2. So it really hardly matters what I choose there. So 270, right 10 with 25 roll. But then we've got, let's see, what do we have here? We have 5 yards left per 10. So that would be 10 left. All right, so that'll put it right on the center line, and I'll put the 25 roll in there while I'm at it. So that'll be right at 295. That'll be the fairway. I'll update it and show you the course. So this ball ends up right there. Alrighty. Okay. All right, shots landing in fairway after the 425-yard mark, double the roll. Ball may not roll across the water. So it is, I guess, conceivable you could roll into the water in front of the green if you got a really long shot. But, I mean, that's at 600. There's no way, right? So that's a 305 from his current distance. So we could just kind of grip it and rip it with a 4-wood here. And that's only the tee shots that roll left. 33. So that's a 4. So 545, right 10, and then we're going to double this roll, so that'll be 30. So he gets it up there pretty nice. All right, so I'll put 30 in there. So 575, right 10, and that'll be in the fairway. Let me show you where that is. 575, right 10 is right there. And, well, actually, remarkably enough, have a good angle. We don't want to be behind or left of the pin. It would be easy to be behind it. Being left is possible. All right, so 50 yards is the call distance, and this will target that location. Let me do the approach tool here, left or right, 5, short left, long right. Long right would definitely be a problem here. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to target the center line at 45. 61 is a 5. So it's at 615. And this is at 620 left 5. So that will be one diagonal away. I could just do the math in my head on that. And we'll be behind, so we're not affected. We're to the right of the pin and we're short of the pin. So it's a 14-footer for a birdie. 22, all right, a 7. Woohoo! That's in. Yay, finally, a birdie. Let's hear it from the crowd. I'm begging for applause here. Okay, that didn't turn out to be too bad. Let's do hole number 5. That's for hole 5. See what we got here. We're going to have some water on this hole over to the left. All right, William, way to go. Yes, thank you. All right, so here's the water that we've got. We've got our pin location right there. We got a normal dog leg here, but that's pretty far out for Justin. So the deal is we want to hit over to the right to try to avoid the water. The question is this a 4-wood? You know, I could hit, if I hit a driver, I might end up over here. I wouldn't be in the water, but I would be in deep rough and would have to play to like somewhere here. But I feel like I've got to play a little bit more aggressive given the situation that I'm in. All right, so that's my first thoughts. Shots landing on fairway or green, roll 5 yards left per. What is this? This whole course is slanted to the left. Okay. So this is for the whole entire hole. Okay, 5 yards left per 10 yards roll. All right, and then we got some putting stuff up here as well. All right, we don't have any wind. Boy, 5 yards left for 10 yards roll. But the problem with a 4-wood is it goes 240. I mean, that's not enough distance to get past all that water. So I think I need to hit a driver. Oh boy. And aim. I need to aim to the right a little bit, maybe. I don't know. Probably 5 or 10. I'm just going to aim 5. I do have a momentum. Could take the momentum. I'd like to save that for a par 3 if I could, so I can put the ball like on the pin. Let's see what happens here. 45. That's a 7. We'll be okay with that. All right. So this is 265 left 5. I think we'll be okay. We're gonna go 10 more left because of this roll. I may end up rolling into a bunker. All right, so let's take a look. 265 left 5 is right here. And then it says for 5 yards left per 10 forward. All right, so I guess we would do this, 10 and then 5. The question is that's on the edge. We'll go another 10 and then go 5. And that's the maximum, and then we'd roll another 5. So, what I'm saying is, in the way that I'm seeing it, is it skirts that that fairway bunker and actually ends up in the fairway. And I think I did the math correctly. Let me come over to the Game Caddie and have it check for me. So ultimately, it went 10 to the left, and it rolled 25. So that's 290 left 15, and that's exactly where I have that ball marker at 290 left 15. So I might play that differently if I had to do it over again, but I'm going to say that is in the fairway, and we still run into that same situation, but we ought to be able to hit the green here on the second shot. But even if you get 5 left fairway, 5 left roll. You get a left roll on the green per 10 yards of roll. Okay. All right. So we don't. Well, we're short-sighted here, so we're not going to be aiming anyhow. So 210. So a 4-iron. Three-iron. Putts right of pin, 3 columns. Well, I'm most likely going to be right at the pin because it's over there on the left edge. So I'm going to be 3 columns left. So basically, your best that you can do with that pin placement is to try to par this hole, is what I'm hearing. All right. So in light of that, I'm going to hit a 4-iron. A 44. And that's a 5. So that's going to go to 485 left 5. Let's take a look at the course here. All right, so that looks to hit. I'd have to blow that up. Is that fairway or green? Well, it's not going to really matter because it's 10 roll either way. So 485 left 5. So if we take the 10 roll and go, I put it right on the pin. Because it's going to get, so 10 yards roll is what I've got, and it goes 5 yards left. So right on the pin. And here I am saying that the best you can do is part of this hole. Let's see what happens here. Could it go in? Let me get the Game Caddie up. Hold your breath. 3 feet. Wow. Okay. Well, I won't take a lot of credit for that, and I'm not even going to have to do the 3 columns longer because I'm right on the pin. Oh, it says all other putts read 1 column longer. Oh, so I don't even get that break. So instead of 3 feet, it'll be 4 feet. So let's add that column in here. Column shift. There we go. So essentially from 4 feet. 21 is a 21. That should be in. Wow. That's the one and probably only time I will ever birdie that particular hole. All right, so we're starting to claw away at that terrible second hole. Let's go to hole 6. Let's see what we got here. Swirling wind, wonderful. All right, let's take a look at the course. Here's what we got. Our pin location is right here. And what do we got that's a gentle dog leg right there, so we don't have to worry with that. And he's not going to hit much beyond that, I wouldn't think. So we just kind of want to put our tee shot right here. So let's come back to the Game Caddie. Again, I have that momentum, but I don't want to waste it on this. Plus, I've got swirling wind. No telling what that's going to do. This is moderate conditions. So I think what I'll do is maybe aim 10 to the left, 5 to the left. I'll aim 10 to the left. That may be too much. I'm gonna aim 5 to the left. I'd rather be in the rough than be in a bunker, right? So I'll aim 5 to the left. Now what's this other stuff up here? I gotta look at this. Maximum club from deep bunker, okay. Second shots carry -10, I'll have to remember that. Shots landing on green or shorter red line roll backwards to, okay. Then first putt that crosses red line, read 1 column longer. All right, so let's hit a driver, 5, aiming 5 left. 15 is a 5. All right, so that's going to go 270 left, 25. I got blown left on top of everything else. So that's going to put me in that deep bunker, I think. 270 left, 25. So 270, 10, 20, yeah. And we don't get any roll with that. Just sit there in the fairway bunker. Well, daggone it. And as William points out, I was on a roll. All right. So no roll, update, and fairway bunker, which is not a deep bunker, thankfully. Second shot's minus 10. Shots landing on green, on or short of the red, roll backwards to first cross short of green. So it rolls off the, basically what it says is it barely rolls off the green. Okay, so you've got to carry that red line, otherwise that's what's going to happen to you. And that's why there's no pin locations down here, right? Because if you land here, you're going to roll off the green. Whereas, so you got to carry this red line to keep, even have a chance of keeping the ball on the green. And we got a swirling wind, and we got to hit a 4-wood. Just, you know, I'm just going to grip it and rip it. I'm in a fairway bunker. No telling what's going to happen here. 23, and that won't be good. 15. I didn't get any wind. So 460 left 20. I'm going to end up in deep rough and just sit there. So 460 left 20. That'll be 60. And then 20 will be thereabouts. So put the ball marker there. And there's no roll from there. Okay. Deep rough. And again, within 100 yards, it doesn't matter. Deep rough doesn't have any effect. Okay, I've got a good angle. Let's see what our approach caddy assistant tells us. So if I get a 6, I'll be right on the pin location, hitting from the south. Short, if I miss, I could be short and left or right 5, so that would be a diagonal away. And if I miss, I could be long left, which still keeps me on the green. So I'm gonna go for this. And by the way, I don't, you know, these kinds of things, you know, if you've followed me at all on other videos, live streams, you'll know that even though it doesn't say it up here, I don't apply this to short approach shots. I only do that for WI shots. I know some of my friends play that differently. That's fine. You know, it would be great if Apple would be more explicit in the course rules when they put stuff like this up. But some courses, and sometimes they do on some courses, which leads me to believe that if they're not explicit, then it doesn't apply. But, you know, again, it's perfectly legitimate to see it differently than that. All right, so back to what I was doing. I'm gonna go for the pin shot here, 14, and that won't be good. That'll just be a wild shot. Another 15. So this is going to go 495, right 5, and thankfully that will actually keep me on the course. So I'm going to end up one diagonal away. That's 495, right 5, right there. So not, you know, not great, but not terrible. Just a diagonal away. So 11 feet, see if you can make it. 14, that'll be good. That'll be a 14 on his card, and that's in. So managed to salvage par on that. Play hole 7 here. So I'm very appreciative of William and anyone else who's watching. And if you are watching, don't be hesitant to join the chat. The one benefit of you doing that, particularly tonight, is it lets me know that people are still there and that you can. This is still going out and being broadcast live. There's no worse feeling than doing this and then thinking, oh, that was interesting. Hope people learned something. I hope they found that to be fun. And then finding out that, the video or the live stream stopped showing, 10 minutes into it. So don't, you won't distract me if you chat. You'll actually be helping me out a little bit. And if there's more than one person out there and you want to chat amongst yourselves, that's good too, because I can watch that and and see what you have to say. And again, I'll know that you're still there. Okay, so back to hole 7. And let's take a look at the hole. William says that newer courses do a better job of explaining the rules. In general, I would agree with that. All right, here's 7. Let's see what we got here. What the hole notes are going to tell us, the tee shots are going to carry 10 yards. Shots landing in the left rough greater than 320 are going to bounce left. That's not a huge deal. And first putts that cross a red line, okay, they're going to be 2 columns longer. And I forgot about any putting on that last hole. I don't know if I skipped a note or not. If there was a note on that last hole about putting, I totally forgot about it. All right, so here's the Game Caddie. We do have a 5 tailwind here. And this is a par 4. The problem, somebody like DeChambeau could probably drive this, but you've got that out of bounds over on the right, so yeah, I don't want to do that. What I'm going to do? I'm going to hit a 2-iron, and I'm going to take advantage of the optional 2-iron rule, or iron off the tee with a par 4 rule if it comes into play. So hit a 2-iron, and I'm going to carry an additional 10 for that hole note. Let's see what happens here. Yes! So my strategy paid off. This is going to be a 14. And what that means is, do you want to convert the PR into the player's average W? I absolutely do. And if you're not familiar with this particular rule, it's in the APBA rule book. It's one of the optional rules that if you, I think it's if you use a 2-iron, 3-iron, 4-iron hybrid off the, or maybe any iron, I can't actually remember the rule, but if you use an iron off the tee with a, on a par 4 or a par 5, then you can apply, you can convert it to the player's PRN if you play by that optional rule, which I do, which is a big difference, right? So that changes that 14 to a 6, and I will go ahead and reduce it. So that shot ends up going 230 right down the center line with 20 roll, and that'll be at 250 on the center line. All right, so right there. All right, so a little strategy that actually worked in my favor. Okay. All right, so we actually want to hit short on this green if we can. There's 2 red lines, and first putts that cross a red line read results 2 columns longer. Now the question I would have on my mind is, if you cross both those red lines, is it then 4 columns longer? Let's see if I read the actual note. It's just a cross, so I think 2 is the max, I'm guessing. 4 would be ridiculously hard. But if we can avoid all that if we just hit short, right? And so we got a call distance of 100 yards. Our little assistant says you can put it right on the pin. If I get the number, if I get like a 6, otherwise I'm going to be short left. That's not good. That puts me off the green, and then long right is not good, because that wouldn't be short of the that would still be short of the red line, so that isn't horrible. But let's do this. Let's aim for the center line, And I think I'm just going to make this 345. I'm probably not going to get this all that close, but if it just misses a little bit, well, there is one possibility there that could put me into the rough. Is there a short left? Yeah, there's a short left. I don't want to do that. Let me come back and make that 350. All right, so we're just aiming to the center line. .36. Believe it or not, that's a 6 on his card. Wow. So that is going to be great. It's going to put me right there at 355. 355. Oh, I forgot about the wind. I didn't pay attention to this, so that's bad on my part. I should have backed it up. Was not paying attention. So instead of being one straight away, I'm going to be a diagonal away, but I'm not going to cross the red center line. Yeah, I had targeted here, but I had 5 tailwind, which I totally forgot about. So the shot ended up going there instead of there. But I'm not on the other side of that red line, so I'll be one diagonal. All right, so let me 10 feet. All right, so this is just a straight old 10-footer. 53 is a 17. That's in. Okay. Clawing back here. Only 3 over at this point. After that 5 over hole for number 2. What is that? I don't even know what that is. It's not a quadruple bogey. It's a pentuple bogey. I'm not sure what the right term is for that. Okay, hole 7. Excuse me, hole 8. Moving right along here. Let's take a look. All right, so here's the hole. It's a short par 4 with our pin location way up here. William said you can't see where I'm pointing at. That probably was from a previous hole. I don't know. Hopefully you can see this at this point. Interesting that he couldn't see, because I don't remember doing anything that would keep him from being able to see it, but maybe when I go back and look at the recording, assuming it records, I'll be able to tell. But here's the pin location. So I'm going to try and put my, this is a gentle dogleg. Maybe put my tee shot over here somewhere. And that would give me a good angle, but obviously I'm not going to go right for the pin. All right, so let's go back to the Game Caddie. We got a 5 right wind. Well, that doesn't help me. Well, it helps me on the tee shot maybe. Tee shots carry 10. Oh, I put 100 in there. That would be something. All right, carry 10. So I think a 4 wood is the play here, and I'm going to aim 10 right as well. All right, so 4 wood. Double ones is a 3. So this goes 265, right 5 with 15 rolls. So that's fairway. So 280, right 5 is in the fairway. So 280, right 5. We end up right there. And we've got a whole note up here that says, first putts from behind or left of the pin. Well, we're not going to be left of the pin, and we're not going to be behind it either. So that hole note's not going to come into play with that pin location. All right. Now, I don't want to forget about the wind. See, so again, if you're not an experienced Game Caddie user, you might not have known what I was talking about before, but you can see at this distance, okay, at 90 yards out, okay, this 5 right affects what we target here. So it says I'm targeting 365 left 10, but because of that 5 right wind, where the actual target is, taking the wind into account, is this bottom arrow, which is 365 left 5. So let me look at the approach caddy. So a 6 would put me right on that spot. A miss would be short left, which would be okay, but a long right would not be okay. Yeah, there's no real option to get it close that works perfectly. So I am actually going to just leave things to where they are. So where I'm going to be targeting, taking the wind into account, is, even though it's the second arrow says that, the third arrow puts it right there. So that's where my target's going to be, and hopefully that's showing up on the screen. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this. 62, that's a 5. So 360 left 10, and that's fine. So because the pin's at 365 left 10, and I am on the green, I can just eyeball that and see it. So I'm just one straight away, right? 360 left 10 versus 365 left 10. So I'm very happy with that. I'm not behind the pin. I'm not left of the pin. I'm 9 feet away. So can he make another putt from this distance? Let's see. 43. Not with that roll. That's oh wait, he has a 20 there. I thought that number would be something like a 23. That's in. Yeah, from 9 feet, 20 is in. I was thinking he had a 23. All right. Wow. So we've got 4 out of the last 5 holes birdied to now be just 2 over. This is quite an unusual round. All right, let's look at hole number 9. Another par 3. All right, hole 9. All right, tee shots are going to carry 20, and this is a par 3. Let me show you the course here. Alrighty. Okay, there's our pin location right there. We got water here. That's never fun. And of course we got bunkers all around. So let's go back to the Game Caddie. See what we can do here. Let's add the 20 here. First putts that cross the center line from right to left, which is what we could do, could be 1 column longer. All right, well, I do have that momentum. This would be a good time to use that momentum, I think, just to make sure I don't get the ball in the water. So, and maybe I can get it close. I don't have to declare at this point, but I'm assuming I'm going to take this. So 225. So a 2-iron is going to be too much club. I think a 3-iron will work fine, and I'll go ahead and reduce it to put it on the center line. Okay, so let's do this. Let's pick a 3-iron. Hopefully I'm thinking everything through here. There's no wind. His average W is a 6. That's a 6 column. 205, and I can't remember if it's 10 or 15 roll, but it should put it on the center line, which is okay. We'll reduce it. So 225, Yeah, and then I only get 10 rolls. So I'm not going to be right on the pin. But so 225 with 10 roll. So 10, 25, 10 roll. So I'm going to be a diagonal and a straightaway. And yeah, William points out that Rose plays this way in real life, that he's pretty streaky. I would totally agree with that. He's a fierce competitor. You know, I mean, all these guys are fierce competitors, right? Who am I kidding, right? But some hide it better than others. And I think Rose, for the most part, does keep his composure. Although I've seen him, you know, get upset a time or two. One incident in particular comes to mind when I think a caddy cut in front of him or something. I forget what tournament it was, but it was definitely a significant moment. It was. I'd like to think it was an accident on the caddy's part, maybe not, but Rose was not happy about it, and I don't think he got happy for quite a while after that. Okay. So what did I say? I'm a diagonal and a straightaway. So that's going to be 25 feet. I don't cross the center line. And I'm still going to play it safe, though, from that distance. 34 is a 30. It's a good thing I did. So 3 feet, go for it. 14, that's a 14. All right, so I think that momentum point helped me salvage par on that hole, because no telling where that might have ended up otherwise. All right, so hole 10. Let's go ahead and load this. Oh, I got a tailwind. All right, so let me take a look at the hole. All right, pin 1 is right there. I've got this crazy dog leg. This is a par 4, right? So it's a very short hole, 303 yards. But you got out of bounds back here. Nothing good happens over here. It pins in the front. Wow. So this is interesting. And with a tailwind, I mean, this is easily drivable. Is it worth taking a chance, though? This is 10 off the center line. You could end up over here in this mess. I don't know. If after I play this hole a few times, I might feel differently about it. I don't think I'm going to drive it tonight. Tee shots may aim up to 10 yards right or left of the center line. Okay, so not more than that. And if you were to drive it, and you went through the inside of that dog leg, it would push you way to the right, because this is a severe dog leg. Yeah. So there's that would make it really tough to try to drive that green, because you couldn't aim enough to the left if that in light of that hole note to take into account that dog leg. Okay, so this means I'm not going to hit a driver. In fact, I may go with the 2-iron strategy again. I think I will. I'm going to hit a 2-iron here. That's 215. And I'm going to aim 5 left. See what happens. Shots from deep rough. Okay, those are all of the things. 46. That's a 32. So 245 right 5, and then 15 roll. So that's fairway. 245 right 5. May not stay in the fairway. 260 right 5. So it's actually going to be in the intermediate rough, which from that distance is fine. All right, so let me show you here. So that shot went there, and then it's on the outside of the dog leg. So 15 roll, 1, 2, 3. It's going to end up right there. So that's either fairway or intermediate rough. It doesn't matter that close to where we're going for. It doesn't matter which I call it. It's going to treat it like a fairway is what I'm trying to say. So I'll just go ahead and mark the ball there. I did get 10 extra wind here. All right, so I'll call it intermediate rough, but it doesn't matter. Now the problem is I'm short-sighted, right? I didn't take that into account. Okay. So if I get a 6, I can put it 1 away. Long, it's going to put me on the green at a diagonal on a straight, and short is going to miss the green altogether. Well, not a lot of great options here. 25. I hit the ball too far, basically. That's what it is. So I can't work the ball. I should have thought about that with my tee shot. But I did hit a 2-iron, for goodness sakes. And it went about 30 yards farther than I expected. All right, so a 46. Maybe that's a magic number on his card. It is. It's a 36. So we got 12 feet minus the dice roll. So I'm going to do Control D here. 12 minus 2 is 6. So we got a 6-foot putt here. That was a lucky break. So 6-foot putt for a birdie. Let's see, is there any other putting stuff here? No. 45, 17. Wow. Another birdie. Okay, 1 over. Who'd have thought after how this was going? Oh, and you couldn't see it. I didn't have the Game Caddie up here. Sorry. I was so excited about that shot that I didn't take that into account. That you couldn't see it. My bad. Operator error. All right, hole 11. But you can see I am 1 over at this point, or more accurately, Rose is. All right, so let's load hole 11. And show the course. All right, so we've got all kinds of business up here. Look at this, right by the water. So we're not going to try to put that ball anywhere close to the water. This is a par 4. This is going to require some precision hitting here. Tee shots landing in fairway on or between the red lines, roll an extra 15 yards. All right, so those red lines I'm sure don't show up terrific on this. So the red lines look to be at 220 and at 190. So there's a red line there, there's a red line there. So shots in between here get an extra 15 roll. So there must be like an embankment here that slants down towards the hole. And you certainly don't want to hit too far on this hole. Okay, we'll come back to the Game Caddie. I may do another 2-iron again. No wind. 215, and I get all that extra roll. I'm gonna do a 2-iron and aim 5 right. .45 is a 7. That's going to be 210. So I'm going to get that extra 15. Tee shots landing in the fairway. Yeah, that 210 is right between those. So instead of the 20 roll, I'm going to get 35 roll. It's like doing a bank shot here. So 245 on the center line. Let me just go ahead and record that, and I'll show it to you. Right there. Perfect. All right. back to the Game Caddie. All right, so we got nothing going on in terms of notes for the pin location. So I've got a good angle, but there's no, because I'm on the center line, but there's no way I'm aiming close there. So let's see what we get here. Gap wedge 120. I'll go 10 past and back up 5. Yeah, so the gap wedge is the play here. Let's go ahead and hit that. And I'm not going to even aim 5 right. I'm just going to go ahead and hit it. 51, should be a nice safe play. That's a 5. I'll go ahead and reduce it. So that'll be 365, which would be 10 past on the center line, and then it's going to roll back 5. So that's going to end up at 360 on the center line. And so it should be a diagonal away. It hits here and rolls back 5, so that's a diagonal right there. I'm totally happy with that. $10 feet again. 10 feet's not bad for a diagonal. All right, let's see if we can make it. 31. No, he's got a 22 there. I think that, yeah, just misses. And then a 64 is a 23. That's in. All right. So we got a par. Okay. Hole 11's down. Let's move on to hole 12. All right, let me show you the hole. Okay. Another severe dog leg. It's a twisty course at 275. And it says tee shots landing in the fairway roll 5 yards right per 10 yards roll. So the course is slanted this way now. So you might want to hit like over in here and have it roll kind of that way. Our pin location is right there, right next to that deep bunker. So again, we can't get too aggressive, you know. Short approach shots from left or behind the green, roll 2 dice and add total to putt distance. Okay. From left or behind the green. So you don't want to be back here, and obviously you don't want to go out of bounds. All right. And then you got this over here on the right. So basically you want to be on the green. Okay. So let's see where that will put us when I hit this. And it's interesting. You could end up essentially where you have this whole note offsetting the effects of the dog leg if you wanted to do that, but 240, yeah, 240 is not a very long shot. I think you do need to hit a driver. The question is, do you want to aim at all on this? I think I'm just going to hit a driver and see what happens. I'm not sure how to play this since it's going to roll right. And the dog leg is going to throw it left. Let's just see what happens. 51. That's a 6. That ball's going to go 270. It's going to... I am going to reduce it. See what happens here. So it lands at 270 right 10, which is going to be fairway. I'm going to add, I'm just going to put these numbers here because we got a big swath of fairway here. I'm pretty sure this is just going to stay in the fairway. So I'm going to add the 25 there, but then I've got to add 10 right roll up here at the same time. So that puts us at 295 right 5, and that'll be in the fairway. So that ends up being a terrific shot. And again, I'm not going to take a lot of credit because I had no idea where that's going to go. So 295 right 5 is there. And the ball hit here, but because it's going through the dog leg and it's rolling right, it's sort of, one's canceling out the other. Not one for one, but sort of close. Okay. Alrighty. So 105. I am short-sighted. I can live with that. So sand wedge. Yep, that's what we want, just a sand wedge. I don't have any wind. 23. So my bad numbers are back. 17. So 410, right 15. Let's see where that puts me. That's 410, right 1, 2. That hits the rough and then rolls 5. So I'm actually on the green, way over here. So I'm going to be 2 diagonals and a straight away. Yeah, that's it. There's no other rolls there that come into play. So what did I say? 2 diagonals and a straight. So 49 feet for a birdie opportunity here. We'll play it safe. 22, 7. Good number, but not good enough. So parred that hole. All right. Can live with that. Let's go for hole 13. And if you wonder what I'm doing, I've got my courses on the floor. The course board's on the floor, so I have to reach over to get them from off the floor. And normally I wouldn't be stretching that far to reach for a course board, but my dog is currently occupying the place next to me where I keep my course boards. So I had to improvise to accommodate her. I hope that makes me a good person. Okay, let's go ahead and load hole number 13. Some might say that my dog has me well trained. All right, so here's the hole. Another short par 3 here. And here's our hole location. And this is read results 1 column longer than actual distance for all putts. So it doesn't matter where we are. We just have to add a column. And of course, we got a little water here that hopefully we can avoid. Okay. And no wind. 110 is our carry objective. If I knock it down, 115 is a gap wedge. So we'll do that. We'll just do a gap wedge here. 34. Oh boy. Hopefully it doesn't go in the water. That's a 31. That's just an awful number. Oh, goodness. So it didn't go in the water. 105 left 20. I think I'm going to be in either bunker or deep rough. 105 left 20. $10, 15, 20. That's a bunker. It's not a deep bunker. It's just, I don't think. It doesn't look like a deep bunker. It's not orange. I'm just sitting there on the edge of the bunker. So that'll just be a regular old sand trap. And unfortunately, that's 25 to the pin, so I'm going to have to do some aiming here with my good angle. All right. Oh, so I have a good line. Reduce putting distance by 10% manually for shots on the green. Okay. I'll do that, and I'll also take a sand point so I can hit from the sand column, or the fairway column. And let's look at what the approach caddy says here. Left, right, 5. If I'm hitting from the west, that would be okay. Long would not be okay. Short would be okay. It's kind of 6-1, half dozen the other. All right, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to target. Let me show you. I'm going to target this spot right there. Okay. So we'll make that 115. Okay. 35 is a 5. So it ends up at 115 on the center line. So I'll be a diagonal away because this is 110, right 5. That's a diagonal. All right, 12 feet. Let's see if we can put this in. 36. Nope. Bogey. 26, 18. I needed that the first time. All right, that's too bad. All right, 2 over now. All right, hole 14. And no bounce backs. All right, let me show you the hole. All right, another nasty pin location up here. Out of bounds over here. And it's a par 4. Put it here and then up here. And that red, what's that red line? Well, we lose 10 yards on the tee shot. Second shots, you lose another 10 yards. And then shots landing in the fairway left of green, bounce 5 yards left. And then there's some other roll stuff there. And then all putts that cross the red line 2 columns longer. All of the putts 1 column longer. All right, so we want to hit to the back of the green on this one eventually. All right, this is another tough hole. Some of these holes are relatively easy, and some of them are just unkind. All right. No wind. And that's a severe dog leg. And you get that out of bounds. If you go 50 left, you can certainly end up out of bounds. Of course, if you clobber it, that's not going to happen. You could end up in a bunker, though. All right, so I'm going to aim 10 left, and I'm going to hit a driver. 31 is a 6. And I am not going to reduce it. Oh, I forgot to do the -10. There we go. All right. This 15 doesn't, yeah, 15 doesn't, to the right doesn't cause any problems. But I aimed 10 left, right? So yeah, I'm not gonna reduce it. No change. Yeah. So 265 right. And then 25 roll is 285 right. All right. So I'm going to end up. All right, we got extra grid lines here, so we'll count backwards from here. 285 right is there. All right. I'm very happy with that. Now, our second shot. I didn't update the shot. All right, so 285 right, 5, fairway. All right, -10. All right, so that's 205. All right, so my 4-iron goes all the way to the back. 5-iron runs the risk of being short of the red line. All right, I'm going to do the 4-iron and I'm going to aim left 5. Get a little greedy here maybe. 63, who knows, 16, oh boy. So 470, right 10. That's actually hits the green, but I'm going to roll off the green. All right, so 470, right 10. This is 480. This is 470, so it hits here, and then it gets 15 rolls. So 5, 10. And it's debatable whether it stops. I think it stops in that deep rough there. Let me take a quick look. It's on the line and you get to choose, right? Yep, that's definitely on the line, and I'm going to say that that's deep rough and it would stop rolling at that point. So I'll just add 10 roll. And again, it doesn't matter that it's deep rough, other than the ball stops rolling. And I'll be 20 to the pin. That's good. .56 is a 6. That's 5 feet away. And then we don't know where that ball is, so we don't know if it crosses the red line or not. So 1 column longer. All right, 1 column. 44, good. 8, in. All right, save par. And that one, you know, was a, oh shoot, I forgot to show the Game Caddie. All right, James Jacobson is here. And James, you caught me, if you are still there, you caught me making a mistake. I'm fooling around with the course and forgot about showing people the Game Caddie. My apologies. But finished up hole number 14 and managed to get a birdie on that. Excuse me, managed to save par on that. So let's go to hole 15. Yeah, it's been quite a round here, with one really bad hole and then a bunch of birdies, but not enough to offset that one really bad hole. Okay, let's take a look at the course. Here's hole 15. There's our hole location. Another severe dogleg. I've never seen a course with so many severe doglegs. And you got out of bounds, so if you go too far through it, of course, it could push you right out of bounds over here. And we don't want that to happen. Okay, so tee shots carry -5. Let's get that out of the way while I'm thinking about it. And the second shots are going to lose 10. All right, 4 wood maybe. Well, you don't want to go much farther than that. 240. That would be 235 with the -5. And I don't want to aim left. I mean, this is threading the needle here. I'm going to aim 5 left, and hopefully I don't pay the price for doing that. 4 wood. Oh, we got 5 left wind. Forget it. Didn't see that. I'll just leave it the way it is. 41, that's a 7. Know that already. Okay, so this is going to go 230, left 15, and with 15 roll, so that's a fine shot. That'll be 245, left 15 in the fairway. Yeah, I mean, a little bit risky. That was a 7. Maybe I should have used a 2-iron there, but anyway, it worked out fine. Might play it differently next time around. All right, second shots are going to lose 10 yards. So let me go ahead and put that -10 in. 190. Read 2 putts longer than actual. Jeez, as if this course wasn't hard enough. Course designer is just a sadistic maniac. Okay, so I'm gonna aim 5 right. Oh no, I'm gonna aim 10 right because I've got that wind. Unless I end up knocking it down. 190. Yeah, I will knock it down. All right, so let me change that. Let me hit a knockdown shot. All right, that's 185. And now that left wind is essentially going to be canceled. So I'll do 5 right. I'm thinking it's canceled. I can't remember if the way it's set up is it rounds up or down. But anyway, I'll just do 5 right. And then a 5-iron. 21. That's a 20. That's a good W number there, not a good I number. So 400 left 15. That won't be good. 10, 25, lefty 1. All right, so that hits the rough. And then I get 5 roll because of that. And it's going to roll to there. And that's still rough. That's on the edge. That's still rough in that location by my way of looking at it. So we'll add the 5 roll. All right, and we'll be in the regular rough. And 30 to the pin, hitting from the west. What do we got here? A good shot. Puts it on short right or left. That's fine. Long left is not good. All right, we'll go for it. I could end up off the green here, but we'll just take a chance. 41 again. Ah, but it's a 6, so that should be 420, right 10. That's right on the pin. Let's chip it in. 6 feet. All right. And 2 columns longer. All right. So this is essentially the same as a 14-foot putt. 36, not going to make it. Either way, it wouldn't have mattered. 55, needed that number the first time. All right, another bogey. Back 9, chewing me up again. Now 3 over. All right, hole 16. Let's see what we got here. Take a look at the hole. Alrighty. Our pin location is right there. We've got a crosswind right on this. Tee shots are going to carry 20. All right, and then we got this crazy fairway here. But, you know, basically we want to hit it out here. I mean, unless we go way to the right and take a chance, which is possible. You know, worst that happens over there probably is you end up in the rough. You know, I'm talking about over here. I guess if you hit it short, you could end up in that tree. All right, let's see what we got here for distances. And we do have a crosswind right with moderate wind. and no bounce backs. So what do we want to do here? 270, yeah, we want to hit a driver. I'm just going to aim 5 right. If he was a bomber, I'd have other options, but I don't. Oh, I forgot about the 20 carry here. All right, so that's going to make a difference. That'd be 295 right. Yeah, that's okay. 14, that's not okay. 26, it's going to go way right. All righty. So 280, right 65. Not only that, I got 20 wind to the right. The shot went 40 right. I aimed 5 to the right, so that's how you end up with right 65. So 280, right 65. I'm just going to be in regular rough. So I'm going to end up getting 15 roll. So I'm going to end up at 295, 65 right in the regular rough. $295, that's 30, 40, 50, wait a minute, 30, 40, 50, 65. Ended up right over here. All right, so, you know, not the end of the world, but certainly not great. Shots landing on green short of red line. Balls roll backward to nearest cross off the green. Okay, so it's the same situation as we had with that other hole. You can't hit short on this green because the ball will come off the green. So we got a carry objective of 155. I'm short sided. If I can hit a knockdown shot. Because I got that crosswind right. Although being blown right isn't the end of the world. So one of the challenges with the modern shot boards, yeah, you get more distance on your carry, let's say off the tee, which is often an advantage. But what you know, you got to account for that somehow, given the limited number of clubs that you put in your bag. So you'll notice that with these modern shot boards, when you get down to these, 5-iron and shorter clubs, you can get as much as 15 yards difference, maybe even more in some cases, between club selections. So you can't really fine tune some of these shots. So I'm going to go ahead and hit a 7-iron. And I'm not going to work the ball. He does have a B rating, which isn't great. And I've got this. Oh, so my lie, I didn't even notice this. So I'm going to get 5 extra roll for my green roll. So that actually helps. And I'm going to go 5 right. That actually helps. And the 5 carry is factored into all this ahead of time. So my lie, I actually have like a good lie for what I want to do here. Now, whether it'll work out well or not, who knows? Let's go ahead and take the shot and see. 21. We know that that's a 20 because I just got that number. So this did not work out terrific. So 420, right 25. I'm going to miss the green, obviously. 420, right 25. It hits in regular rough, and then, of course, it'll roll 5. So it rolls to that spot, and it's still just, in the rough. All right, come on. All right, so I'm at 425, right 25, regular rough. But I'm going to be 15 to the pin, so that makes things a little bit easier. 32, doesn't matter. 13, 12 feet away. We don't know where that ball is. On the greens, just 12 feet away. And let's get a good putt here. 44, yes. All right, finally. Good putting makes up for everything else that goes wrong in APBA. All right, so a par, managed to save par. Now, the likelihood of me breaking par is non-existent here unless I eagle. I got 2 holes to go. But if I ended up 1 over, I would still be thrilled with this round. And in fact, I'm not too displeased considering that I've just really only had one really lousy hole. 17. And that was because it was a hole I did not play smart. All right, let's take a look at this hole, hole 17. Another par 3. Lots of par 3s there. Alrighty. And this is going to be a fairly long one as well. With a carry objective of 255. What do we got here? A little apron in the front here. Here's our pin location. And no wind. I hit a 4-wood. Oh, yeah, I got to look at this stuff. I forgot. Tee shots carry 10. All right, well, that I might still stick with a 4-wood there. All right, that'll make it 245. Yeah, I'll still stick with a 4-wood. Then shots, landing, rolling on green, short of the red line, bounce 5 yards away from the center line to the right, if on the center line or past the right. Well, you know, I don't know that all these hole notes make this course any more fun to play. I mean, at some point, it becomes an exercise in reading instructions rather than just playing. That's my little commentary to the APBA course designer. I get that you want to make it more realistic, but you're not doing anybody any favors, you know, with this. And yes, the argument always can be, if you don't like it, you know, either don't buy the course or, you know, don't play with those hole notes, which is, you know, fair enough to say. But I would doubt that very many people find enjoyment in spending their time trying to interpret course notes. And, you know, maybe that's just me, but I haven't run across too many people who say, oh, good, we've got, you know, 8 course notes on this hole. All right, so hopefully we won't have to deal with that stuff. 4-wood, no wind, grip it and rip it. 53, well, it's going to be a little bit short. 9. So 235, left 5. Hopefully that hits the green. All right, 235, left 5. 10, 20, 35, left 5. All right, so what's it say? Shots landing or rolling on the green short of the red line, bounce 5 yards away from the center line, okay, to the right if on the center line or past the red line. I don't know what past the red line means, because it says if you're short of the red line. I don't know. Anyway, I'm not to the right. I'm not on the center line. Okay, so I'm going to bounce 5 to the left. That would be away. Right, that puts me in the rough. So then the question becomes, how much roll do I get? Do I get the full green roll, or do I get the rough fairway roll? Doesn't matter. In both cases, it's 10 yards. So it ends up putting me right there. Shots landing or rolling beyond the red line, bounce 5 yards right before remaining roll. Well, you roll beyond the red line when you're close to the red line. So do both of these happen right at the same? Oh, this is just crazy. This is just crazy. I'm going to look at the actual hole note here. Shots landing or rolling on the green, on the green, okay. Short of the red line, bounce 5 yards away from the center line, bounces to the right if it lands or rolls on the center line. I didn't do that. For all shots landing or rolling on the green past the red line, the ball will roll 5 yards to the right before taking any other roll. So, all right, so so that actually is a little bit clearer than what the Game Caddie interpretation of that is. So no, the answer is no, it just rolls. It does one or the other, it doesn't do both. And as it turns out, then I'm going to be a diagonal and a straight away after all that. But that was painful. So 24 feet, and then back to front, read 2 columns longer. All right, now this is front to back, so I don't deal with that. All right, so we'll play it safe here. 24, again. 28, 3 feet, and 15, 10. All right. All right, so that was a par and a lot of work. All right, the last hole. If anybody is still hanging in there from the beginning, I applaud you. I don't know if you're still there or not, William. More power to you if you are. Let's load hole 18 and try to finish this up. All right, here's what hole 18 looks like. Pin location down here. Boy, this is a brutal pin location. Hole number 1. You got out of bounds up here. It's a moderately long par 4, 521. And we're going to have some putting rules, it looks like. So, yeah, William's on my side. He agrees it's too many notes make it hard to play. Yeah, I hate to be a whiner about stuff. Some might disagree with my that statement, but I mean, APBA could make certain things so much better, and it's not clear to me that whoever designs these courses really understands how the shots work either. But that's for a different day. I don't want to go off on that tangent, because the shot charts. Forget the fact that I'm using the modern boards, right? That just affects carry distance. But the shot charts and the courses aren't always compatible with one another, and I'll just leave it at that. But I've got a whole issue about that as well. All right, so let's come back to the Game Caddie and try to finish out here on a high note. I've got wind to the right, 5 yards. I gotta hit a driver to get to the fairway. So I will aim another 5 yards to the right and grip it and rip it. Tee shots landing or rolling on or past 300-yard mark. We'll add 30 to the remaining roll. Well, that's unlikely with him. 35 is a 6, and I'll reduce it. So that's going to go 270, right 20 with 25 roll, because that's going to be in the fairway. So 270, right 20, 25 roll. It's going to put it right about there, I think. And fairway. Yeah, 295, right 20. That's where I got the ball marker. Okay, we still got that 5 right, and we got a 225. So that's not going to be a knockdown shot for sure. We want to go right anyway. So 2 irons, too much club. Three iron may not be enough club. I'm going to hit the 2 iron because, again, mainly because of this front to back. You don't want a front to back situation. 56, 14. All right, so it's going to go 5, 10, right 30, and That's going to hit in the rough, and it's just going to roll some in the rough. 5, 10, right 30, and then I'm going to get 10 extra roll, which will put me within easy chipping distance here. All right, so 15 to the pin, 35 is a 5, 8 to putt. Let's see, and I don't have any of that stuff going on. So let's get a good roll here. What do I need here? I need a 21 or better in order to make this. 36 is not going to do it. 24. Well, so much for high notes. 42 is a 23. So I'm going to end up bogeying the last hole. So unfortunately, ended up 2 over on the back 9, 2 over on the front 9. Here was the killer hole, you know, where I had a 10, and it was 5 over on that par 5. Ended up 4 over. All right, 79% fairways, which is good, right? 61% in greens in regulation. In APBA, that's average to better than average. You know, longest drive, I didn't pick 2 holes to do the 2-hole driving distance. I may do that after we go off the air. Longest drive was 295, not long at all. And then 14 feet was the longest putts, and 90 feet total length putts made. That's about average. It's certainly within the average range. It might be a little bit on the high side. An average driving distance is 272. For an average W of 6 using the modern ratings, that's pretty short, but that's because of the severe dog legs on this course. You can't pull out the driver on that many holes without taking, you know, a big chance. So, you know, in terms of statistics, this is not a good course to represent driving distance. All right, well, that is it. I want to thank everybody for coming out that watched this, and anybody who watches this recording, you know, please leave me feedback one way or the other, or shoot me an email, whatever you're most comfortable with. Again, I want to thank everybody. And if, you know, this all goes well, then I might be doing live streams on a more regular basis. Obviously, what I'd like to do is to involve other people in those live streams as I did before. But that would be a next step where I have to figure out how to actually do that. Getting into work just for one person was difficult enough. But there you have it. Till next time, grip it and rip it.